Every single tool available out there today can use AI. The problem is, users or e-commerce founders, directors use the tools as simply as plugins. It's the same way they were using them before. Without AI, they're treating them the same. And this is causing huge problems when it comes to personalization and messaging, specifically branding.
My experience is that most people have this non-tangible idea of what their ICP is, or like who their customers are that they're supposed to be working with, and they actually have no clear understanding of who they're actually talking to. They may have an understanding of like what they want their brand to stand for, but they have no real world connection of the people who are actually buying the products and how to communicate with them or anything like that. Welcome back to Stacked for Scale. Today we're going to be talking about AI personalization and how to make it feel human and brand aligned so you can carry that message on all the way through the first time they hit the site and actually check out and get their product into their hands. And I have with me Igor, who is going to be tag teaming this topic with me. But before we get into that, we usually just start by talking about like what we've been up to as far as business goes, what we've been working on, any interesting things going on in the industry. So I'll let Igor kick that off.
So what's going on? It's in the past few months, it's all about AI and personalization in e-commerce with AI. It's all about tools. It's all about methods. It's all about data points. So when it comes to tools, I can just say, Micah, that every single tool available out there today can use AI in any other way. Like, for example, Klaviyo, Nosto, or Rebuy, they all have some kind of LLM attached to their system that users just simply use. The problem is that users or e-commerce founders, directors use the tools as simply as plugins. It's the same way they were using them before. Without AI, they're treating them the same. And this is causing huge problems when it comes to personalization and messaging, specifically branding. The messages seems off.
When you say plugin, do you just mean like untrained?
I mean specifically how the way like 10 years ago or 5 years ago, where did you just plugged in any plugin and just leave it as is. You're not tweaking it, you're not testing it, you're not checking the results. So in this case, and we're seeing this across many brands, e-commerce directors or managers just plug in the AI, for example, in Klaviyo, and set it and forget it. That results in very non-human type of communication. And the messaging that goes to clients and to customers, it just so seems off. Do you have maybe a case where you have seen this in your clients where your messaging seems off?
All the time, to be honest. I mean, even if it's not an e-com, like they land on the site, the visitors, and there's just like total confusion about like what the goal of the site is or what they're trying to actually get people to do. And if it is e-com, they'll be in the checkout process and the recommended products are like totally irrelevant. I mean, it's 2025. That was acceptable back in like 2000. You get on Amazon or e-com or on eBay, you don't really expect any personalized results, but like if I see a product that actually applies.
Email messaging, that's really common with Klaviyo, like how people are using it lately. When they do AI segmentation or AI campaigns, we have seen
if they can get it right. Like I'm a really picky person. Like if anyone asks me the importance of newsletters, like I almost always tell them to forget about it, which is wrong. But the reason is because most people that do it aren't going to do it right anyways. So like for me to actually read a newsletter, it has to be highly relevant for me. Otherwise it's blocked. And so like, you can always tell who's doing it right and who's not doing it right. And some of the newsletters I get are always like on point. They show up in my inbox. I'm like, oh, I do actually need that. So like they know what they're doing, but it's rare.
Right. So when it comes to AI, the same messaging branding needs to be transferred, or the AI needs to be trained on that. And how that needs to be done, basically, it comes to simple prompt engineering. For example, instead of just set it and forget it in Klaviyo, just a simple prompt can give the AI or any LLM, for that matter, Nosto as well, Just with a simple prompt, you can tell the AI what your brand is, what your brand stands for, and how you talk to your customers. With this, again, it's not a trained LLM, it's just a simple prompt engineering. Give signals to the LLM that's gonna make at least more human or even more brand oriented. So in my case, people don't really do that, mainly because they don't understand how AI works. They don't understand what AI stands for and how LLMs actually works. And for this reason, the actual emails that go out are very, very unhuman, specifically when it comes to newsletters. How this needs to be resolved and what we recommend is to connect your branding with your data points. For example, simple prompt engineering, couple of prompts. We stand for XYZ and our USP is ABC. Goes into the prompt along with the data on your products, going with the data in terms of who your customer or what the segment is. And with this, LLM has enough data to create more personalized messaging. All right. What's your experience on this?
My experience is that most people have this non-tangible idea of what their ICP is or like who their customers are that they're supposed to be working with. And they have no clear understanding of who they're actually talking to. They may have an understanding of like what they want their brand to stand for, but they have no real world connection of the people who are actually buying the products and how to communicate with them or anything like that. So like, from my perspective, it's easy to say you need to prompt engineer to put those data points in. But like from my experience of like when I had to start really focusing on brand strategy with clients is when I realized like, okay, it doesn't matter what we build for them. If that foundation of them not knowing who they're actually talking to is not there, it's a problem. So like there's a big part of the project that needs to happen before that, which is a lot of self-exploration about themselves as founders and about the brand itself. And then you'll have the data points to be able to turn that into like proper prompt engine.
So it comes to understanding your customer, you defining your ICP. And without that, AI won't help.
Correct.
Or any tool cannot help. So how people go, how's that? Is there a process that you're usually using to help brand owners to identify the ICP, or they're using any tools? Like, for example, I can share you an experience how I identified our ICP long time ago, like 20 years ago when I started. This is before the agency business. When I identified my ICP, I was selling pop art canvases. Designing them on Photoshop. This is 2003, 2004, when there was no ICP, there was no, identifying who you're selling to, but I understood the problem, right? So by me just be able to understand the problem that I'm solving is basically I was selling memories. I was able to create my messaging to target people that want to create memories from vacations, memories from, celebrations, and so on and so forth, or more specifically, memories for their pets. And this is kind of creepy, but specifically if the pet passed away.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Right. So that was my niche. That was my niche 20 years ago. Based on that, I was able to.
What was that what was your light bulb moment for that? Like, when did you realize, oh, I gotta like actually figure out who I'm selling to?
Oh, so, back then, like, we're talking beginning of SEO, beginning, PPC and all that stuff. Facebook was not even there. So I was just, same as today, even with AI, you need to see who your customer is. So you notice the pattern. I was spooking them any chance I could get there was no Facebook. So I was using MySpace and, MapQuest, checking the address where they are in New York, New Jersey, whatever, to understand why they actually purchased from me. Right. And by that, in my head, it was not called ICP back then. It was called like my customer, my friend or whatever. Like, I didn't have that many customers, like 5-10 people a month. Right. So, but to me, that was like, this is my niche. This is how I'm setting up myself my headlines, emails, everything about pets and the memory about a pet or living or passed away. So yeah, this goes to today and what I was saying, AI and how people just use it as plugin. You need to train the AI or at least use prompt engineering, connect the data points, but you need to tell the AI what's your niche and who are you targeting, like with words. Tools like Nosto and Klaviyo and so on and so forth do not really allow, and I don't see this happening, to allow you to use custom models that you can train on your own data or you can actually fine tune them to your own needs, maybe in the future. But for
That's
now,
what
you
I found.
basically, yeah, you
I
just
find that
use,
frustrating.
they're not there yet. They're not there yet. So it doesn't really matter if you're using Klaviyo or MailChimp or anything like that. It's basic LLM. They're not really disclosing which LLM, but I assume it's either OpenAI or something like that. That with simple prompt engineering and data points can do marvels, close to human-like connection, close to, at least for subject lines, at least for call to actions, even the product recommendation as you suggested that go into newsletters or sales emails. But all goes to who your ICP is.
Yeah. And to go back to your question of like what my process is, it depends on how much the client will play ball. Cause obviously the more information we can get, the better. I have found that it's a lot easier for them to self-explore. So I have like a whole process of like specific questions to identify like why they got into business, what gets them up in the morning besides just money.
Right.
And what they derive joy in working with certain types of people. Now, in a perfect world, I would also have them go out and reach out to their top 10 customers and actually interview them and try to figure out like what was it that made that light bulb moment that made you want to work with me or purchase with me, or really I have that connection with the brand. Because it's really easy to have a blind spot. Like you were lucky in your example that you were able to have the self-awareness to know like, oh, it seems like people who are attached to their pets and then lose their pet, that is something, there's something here. And there's a pain point there if you take it a layer deeper. So it's easy to kind of like communicate that. So in a perfect world, it'd be the combination of those self-exploring questions and then having the outbound questions to their ideal clients and then mixing those two. And then I have multiple models. I use a custom GPT, a custom Gemini Gem. I have Claude projects that kind of all act as agents to distill that information into like a suggested list of 10 ICPs based upon that information. And then I go through with the client to go through pros and cons. So like we start talking about do they have a need? Do they have the ability to purchase? Are they easy to be able to target? Like all of those things get factored in and scored. And obviously they have to actually resonate with that ICP. Like there may be one ICP that's better than another, but they don't enjoy working with them. So it's a give and take between, quantifiable research backed data and also their gut feelings as an owner. And then once we have that ICP narrowed down, then it becomes, I shouldn't say easy, but it's a lot easier than flying blind. It becomes easy to map that into data points for how the website should be communicated, what that journey is, because you'll know whether the people are cold and have never heard of your brand before, or maybe they've been warmed up on Instagram or other types of social media platforms. And so the messaging totally changes. And the way they navigate through the site changes, but you have to have that
connection changes depending on where they heard about you or what kind of messaging they received.
100%. Yeah. Cause like if you have someone that's on social media and they're following you and then they follow the link and go to your site, like they're pretty much already ready. They may just be wanting to confirm a few objections in their head. And maybe collect some testimonials, but that's vastly different than someone that is just searching for, I'll use your example, handmade prints of passed away pets or something. And they do that on Google. they have no emotional connection or trust with you. So if they click on that link from an SEO link, then they land on the site, you better be handling way different objections and messaging than you would for someone that's coming from social media. So like the injection point into the website makes a huge difference as well.
So follow the messaging on all points. Is it PPC ad, for example, and I would just so message would be a promo, free shipping ends today, landing page, same messaging, checkout, same messaging, welcome email, same messaging, with a warm message, thank you for ordering, and so on and so forth. So it's all about creating connection, starting with the, with the first data point, how they ended up landed on your website. Is it the ad?
And you could get really crazy with it too. I mean, you could technically, instead of having a bunch of different pages out there, combined with like what you do on the personalization, like with the UTM trackers to know where the traffic is coming from, you could technically tailor the site based upon where they're coming from. So JavaScript is there and just injects and changes the messaging. It's not the most ideal way for SEO, but it is the ideal way for if it's cold traffic from ads or something like that, where the SEO doesn't really matter.
SEO can pick up the default hard-coded HTML anyway, so it's gonna do any damage to that. But also that you mentioned, when it comes to international traffic, how's that affecting the messaging? That's being basically changed. And I don't want to change the topic, but when it comes to international traffic, you have, let's say, I don't know, different languages, Spanish, English, and so on and so forth. And that changes the message, and not just the messaging, where they're coming from, but from where in the world they're coming from and the culture they're coming from. So that kind of switches the game a lot and affects the SEO and affects the SEO. But that's a totally different topic that we can maybe touch base another episode. I just wanted to kind of say more in terms of building connections. So branding and building a connection is all what's there about, right? That's, you need to build a brand message and you deliver that brand message from the ad or social till the checkout. So when it comes to how you can optimize that and utilize maybe AI, LLM to deliver that, to transform that brand messaging to actual connection. So how we do it with clients, e-commerce specifically, the brand messaging is driving the connection. But what I mean by driving is you have the brand messaging, but then you have the data points. For example, if the customer landed on product page, if the customer searched keyword XYZ and clicked on a category page, you understand the customer behavior. The customer dwelt on the website for a couple of minutes, ended to the cart, but didn't purchase. So the LM is being trained on the customer behavior, and conclusions are derived based on this behavior that goes back to the brand messaging. So when, for example, an email is being sent out, if this customer abandons the cart, it feels very personalized in terms of tied up with the brand messaging and the value that the brand offers, along with the behavior. And I can give you an example. For example, if I'm buying a shirt, if I want to buy a shirt, right? And I can check based on the UTM tracking that I visited pages and check products with t-shirts that are white, blue, green, whatever colors, but I added only the white one in the cart. So, and then abandoned the cart. The email is going to go out with a very personalized message. Hi, we noticed that I would not say maybe the word notice, but hey, you didn't like the white t-shirt. Maybe we can offer you a different color or different brand, something like that. So they know, not in a spooky way that you're tracking them, but in a way that a shopping assistant in the store will actually come to you and say, hey, can I offer you a different color of this shirt? You might like it better. So in that way, the AI tools can help tie that with the branding messaging to feel much more personalized and build a connection with the customer. And in the same way, they can offer a discount code so they can make the sale.
Yeah. So to zoom out, in case anyone is not following as far as like topic jumping, it is all related. So earlier we were talking about personalization of the fundamental brand. So there's a level of personalization there where we're putting in the knowledge, the data inputs of the brand strategy and the personality and how the brand communicates. That's one layer. But then on top of that, you have multiple other layers, which is individual traffic to the site and the cookies that are being assigned to those visitors and being tracked. And so on a granular detail, this page was navigated to, they spent more time on this one. They're obviously interested in shirts rather than pants. All of those are data points that are being collected. And then when outreach happens, it's not as simple as, hey, you didn't like this shirt, let's give you this one. It's also
prompted. They're used as prompt. All data points are being basically used in the prompt engineering that goes into your AI tool. Is it Klaviyo, Nosto, MailChimp, whatever it is. So the message is number one, intelligent, but also when tied up with the brand messaging, it's personal and it's intentional.
Yeah. So 10 years ago, we were using templates of, hey, person comes here, we send a follow-up email because they didn't buy. That's old news. What's new news is with using the AI as a fundamental layer, those templates are then painted in with colors that's individualized. Maybe this person you noticed needs to be communicated this way. So you tailor it that way, but always under the foundation of how the brand communicates. So it can that's how you end up with newsletters that I actually read or product follow-ups that I actually read. Cause I'm like, wow, they really know what I want. Where they're not so much to the point that they might know I don't ever wear black pants. So they'll never recommend that, right? So that is the type of granular detail that you can really get into if you invest the time and money into doing it. And there's a huge ROI.
Absolutely. Data points and prompt engineering is how AI can be smarter than human is, and not just
you mentioned
website.
You mentioned Klaviyo. Is there a reason that you are a fan right now? Obviously, we're not married to tools, but is there a reason that you're liking that right now versus some of the other options out there?
I don't want to be biased to Klaviyo, but I would say when it comes to Shopify websites, and it's actually Shopify ecosystem, Klaviyo is the one that's most used there. Goes to eCommerce as well, and goes to Magento too. So in my experience, so that's why I keep mentioning Klaviyo instead of, I don't know, SendMail or SendGrid or MailChimp. In the industry I'm in, my niche, people use Klaviyo mostly. And if I can be biased a little bit, Klaviyo does have the best tool and AI implemented at the moment versus anybody else in our experience.
Yeah, so I'm not as familiar with these particular tools because you're dealing with this layer of the business a lot more. So from an outside perspective, what are the advantages specifically for like AI personalization? Like, can you upload PDFs or specific knowledge bases, or is it more like you have to fit it inside a specific form to describe?
When it comes to Klaviyo, what's the Klaviyo wise? You asking me, right?
Yeah.
Klaviyo is fully integrated with Shopify and eCommerce, like pulls all the data that it needs. Like I'm talking orders, I'm talking emails, I'm talking tracking on the website, everything that's needed in terms of data points, so users can make sense of it. But again, users of Klaviyo can make sense of it, not the LLM to make sense of it. So some automation that Klaviyo offers based on those data points, and this is very useful, people don't even use it. You can create segments using prompts. For example, create a segment that people just visit page XYZ and click button ABC. And that's going to be one segment. So creation of segments, it's much faster using prompting. And that allows you to create many campaigns, many segments 10 times faster than you can do it to MailChimp or ActiveSend or something like that. So the ease of use is the benefit that Klaviyo has right now versus the competitors out there. Maybe they'll catch up, maybe they won't, but I highly recommend everybody that's using it, just play around. It's so powerful that it's going to make your life easier and your campaigns much more successful just by simple prompting in Klaviyo. Yeah.
So how do you combat personalization not sounding robotic? Like, what's your tactics on that? Where, because I forget the term of what it's called, but it's like, it's almost like an eerie feeling. I'm having a blank on what that's actually called, but it's almost like you can just tell.
Right now you can, I understand. Not something robotic comes to number one, prompting and prompt engineering, but also, as I said, data points. So you need in a prompt, which is not simple to do it because you cannot actually train your ML. You don't have ability to train your ML, but you have ability.
People think it's simple.
Prompt. Correct. So with a simple prompt, for example, like if page visit X, product clicked Z, abandoned cart happened, then assumption is that person loved the product that he visited and the customer abandoned the cart. Then would be a very good assumption that a personalized message attached to the branding can be created and you offer this person a different color of the shirt, right? But you question, that's all AI. All automation segments.
What I'm saying is, who's making the decision of if they come from an ad and then they land on this page and then they go to this page, that gives a quantifiable, let's say a score. Let's say it's a quantifiable percentage assigned to their chance of purchasing. Is AI making that choice, or is the person that's implementing the system deciding this page has this?
I highly recommend AI can do this. This is the set it and forget it system, but the AI can make all these decisions for you based on the tracking that they're seeing, based on analytics they're seeing. AI can do it, but I highly recommend an email marketing specialist to go in and with simple prompting, create those campaigns for you, create those segments for you, analyze the data, and with the simple prompting, connecting the data points and with the logic, human logic, and understanding of the product and the brand messaging, just create those campaigns and those prompts so it sounds human and creates a connection. Otherwise, it sounds robotic. The decision is always, I recommend to be human, not to leave AI to do the decision for you, mainly because AI does not understand your product, does not understand your brand, does not understand your customers. So in order not to be robotic, simple prompting, simple, not that simple, but email marketing trained on prompt engineering can create those prompts and can have a campaign that runs smooth and just help your brand messaging being delivered in a human way using AI.
I don't know if you spend much time on YouTube, but I do. And one of the things that has been driving me crazy is because obviously the trending topic is AI. And so like you'll get these people on there that will be like headline, build the perfect landing page using nothing but, and then whatever the model is through simple prompting. And then you watch the video. I just watch it just to be triggered, I guess. But I watch the video and it's like the most basic, unresearched prompt that is just assuming that if you put a button here, it's the right way to do it. If you put it here, there's obviously best practices to follow, but there's also not any personalization to it either. And so obviously the temptation for most businesses is going to be, okay, I'll just go find someone on Upwork or some Joe Schmo that claims to be an expert at prompt engineering or whatever it is. So like, what do you think some of those red flags are to look out? Cause like, for example, if they reach out to someone that, like you suggested, is a person that's an expert AI that can build these systems out and do the personalization correctly, like my opinion of a true expert is when they not only identify the missing holes in what they do, but they will stop and be like, hold on, you don't even know your ICP enough for me to actually get you results by doing this. Whereas the person that just is a hired gun, they're just going to take the information you give them and execute. And it may be the wrong decision altogether.
So you're saying, is it a good decision to just hire somebody on Upwork to do your prompt engineering? That's what you're saying, right?
I think we know the answer to that question.
Right. More specifically, it's like, I would highly not recommend that. Small recommendation.
What would be the red flags?
So, you cannot rely on somebody else to do your brand messaging. not somebody else that does not understand your brand or does not understand your customers. So first step I would take, I would train my people how to use ChatGPT, how to do prompts. So with a simple couple of commands and a couple of prompt tricks, anybody that understands your product can create those prompts, and doesn't need to be perfect. Let's test it out. Do A/B testing. See how it works. Do a campaign. Do two campaigns, 3 campaigns. See what's not working. See what's working. Then you can maybe hire somebody professional that can take those examples and make it perfect. For example, so what we do, we have a team that does this every day. Not just the prompt engineering, but actually we look at the data and we understand the data, why this works, why it doesn't work. And you cannot, before we do the prompt engineering, before we do anything, we understand your data, and then we tie this data into simpler prompts. If you hire somebody from Upwork, he's going to do product page, add to cart, message B. Job done.
Yeah.
And that's going to go, and that's pretty much A/B.
Just linear thought, not thinking outside of the box, no dynamic decision making whatsoever.
Absolutely. So without marketing experience or marketing specialists or understanding your brand, I would not recommend any prompt engineering with AI.
Okay. Yeah. So we feel the same when it comes to that, because like I obviously work more with service-based businesses. And so like for me, the personalization always has to have this give and take between outsourcing to AI, but then you have to have a layer of human expert looking and refining all the way through the process and taking those data points that AI does uncover and then adding another layer of manual personalization. Like, for example, let's say it's a higher end brand. Maybe you're trying to sell yourself as a premium brand. As a consumer, something that I really enjoy is like if I order a nice dress shirt, that it comes wrapped a certain way and maybe it has a personalized note or something like that. Those are types of data points that you again find foundationally from doing ICP research and figuring out like the types of consumers that are buying. And then you can understand like what are those little wow moments that happen with the customer that makes them want to keep coming back, but more importantly, recommend to other people to also buy from you, because it's little things like that adds up, and that AI can assist all the way through. But through that whole process, you need to have someone that's thinking outside of the box and knowing what to do with the data points that the AI is uncovering.
Correct. AI can uncover a couple of new data points as well, and that can go like a suggestion or maybe ideas for the marketing person to craft the strategy.
Yeah, I think that probably covers most of the tools and some of the like top level ways of applying AI personalization for your brand and some of the things to look out for. I think that there's obviously a million different ways we could take this from here, but just to keep it digestible, I say we just kind of cut it off right there, and then maybe we can expand on this topic or some of the other things that we kind of started on.
Absolutely.
And then
Absolutely.
And then we were like, maybe not today. So appreciate the time.
Likewise.
Yep.
Bye, everybody.
All right, see you guys.